This video tutorial will introduce you to the concept of absolute cell referencing. Now in Excel there are two kinds of referencing, and referencing means when you refer to a cell. So for example, when I refer to C5, that's called a reference. So there's dynamic cell referencing number 1 and absolute cell referencing number 2. So let me demonstrate. If for example I wanted to take B5, which is Smith's allowance, plus C5, which is the pay, we're referring to B5 and C5, and I press enter, I get the answer. Now the idea is that when I copy it down, naturally B6 plus C6 for Wilson would be used here, B7, C7, B8, C8, and so on. And I could prove it to you. So B8, C8, B9, C9. It works. But sometimes we don't want one of these items to change when we copy down. So if you look at the VLOOKUP tutorial, you'll notice that there's certain cells in a table to the right we didn't want to change. So let's redo this. Our company wants to determine next year's pay, so this is 2015, and next year we want to determine it not based on an allowance, but by some sort of a proposed percentage. So let's say we want to do just inflation. So we'll put in 1.2%. So I want to increase Smith's pay from $45,000 upwards by 1.2%. We're going to do it over here. So the calculation would be Smith's pay plus his pay times 1.2%. So obviously we're not going to type in 1.2% because we want to be able to change that number. So it'll be C5 plus C5 times G5, and that represents the amount of the increase, 1.2% of 45,000, and of course we also have to pay the guy the same 45,000 next year. So I'll press enter and we get the correct amount. And here's the thing, if I change this 1.2% to 1.5%, naturally this number will change. But that only helps you with one person. If I were to copy this down, what happens is this box will also move down. So take a look. We're referring to G5 here. We don't want G5 to change. We don't mind if C5 changes to C6, C7, C8, C9. And that's exactly what happens. So let's take a look. C6, C6, but that box also goes down to G6. And by the time we're over here, it goes all the way down here. We don't want this box to move. It should always be G5. So let me delete these wrong ones. Double click inside here. And it's simple. What we want to do is change this from dynamic, meaning it's going to become G6, G7, G8, and so on. We want it to go to absolute. Absolute means do not move. Glue it into place. And it's simple. We just highlight this and we press F4. Now we can copy this down, and if you take a look, the G5 does not change. And that's a demonstration of absolute cell referencing. Now here's the interesting part. I can change this number to whatever I want. Let's say we're generous, you want to do 2.1%. All of these numbers change. Now if you did a total at the bottom and you're looking for a certain, let's say you're looking for $300,000, you keep manipulating this one number until you hit the $300,000 target.